Day 15. Yes, here we go. It's to stitch toward a goal piece. And for me, that's the GGR Lettres A. Beautiful pieces. And I know my dear friend Lois tried to find a Q, and there are not all the letters, not even half of them represented with the GGR artwork. So take heed. If you want your letter, you're going to have to look it up and see. I believe I ordered this from 123 Stitch, and it is like a beautiful display of everything A for my first initial. And I told my daughter-in-law, when I'm dead and gone, my granddaughter Ada gets to inherit this piece, but I gotta finish it. Yes, I do need to finish this. So I made that elasticized collar to go around the hoop, and I used the elastic silicone magnet ties to hold it in place. I love them. I'm bringing over my super duper lamp to help me see everything. I'm sitting between like 3 windows, but I would like a little bit more assistance. And this lamp, the LED, offers I think 3 or 4 settings, and the first one actually does me just fine. Okay, I am working on what appears to be a boat with steam coming out of it, using my scissors so that I can keep track. All right, let's get going here. Today's chat is about Disneyland Paris. It is about 20 miles, 34 kilometers outside of the center of Paris. And in looking up the best ways to access it, the worst way is to take a car, because I guess there is very little parking available. So you're going to have to find a place to park your car. The best way to get there is the train. There are other ways, like getting a private car, which is the most, I think, expensive. Up there with the Disney Express coach, I think it is. It's rather expensive. The least expensive and quickest way to get there is if you are at Charles de Gaulle Airport and you want to go straight to Disney, it's about a 10-minute ride on the train. I noticed in reading some of the instructions by experts who have been there. Oh, enjoying my coffee, thank you. It's still the morning here. You've got to be careful to keep your ticket available to get out of the station when you get there. It's great that you bought your ticket, but don't stick it somewhere where you don't remember where it is. You've got to use that ticket to get out of the gate. And they also suggest that you buy both your going and your exiting, your coming home, or wherever you're staying, ticket. You've just got to be super careful you remember where you put those. It's much better if you buy those together, then you're ready to go when you exit the park. The unfortunate thing about taking the express bus, it can be very, very crowded. And secondly, the last bus out, I think it said, was at 8:45, and then you miss all the evening light shows. So that's not a good idea. And I don't know why they feel they need to have their last bus at that, middle of the night where you're going to miss all the great, attractive, juicy stuff. Come on. So it's not a good idea. I suppose if you have little ones, little ones, that would be most effective though. You got to get them to bed. So our local KTLA, which is in Los Angeles, did a report in July about the comparisons of our Disneyland in Anaheim versus Disneyland in Paris. And I thought it was kind of interesting. And I have a little bit of course, an association with it in that I worked at Disneyland for 14 years in Anaheim, and my brother-in-law was a designer at the Disneyland Paris before it, like from the beginning. My sister and my brother-in-law lived over there for 10 months. He was an aesthetic designer, kind of like making the set fit the attraction or the location. And then my sister, being a costume designer, I believe did props and set design for the Treehouse, Robinson Crusoe, or Robinson Family, and something else. I think maybe Haunted Mansion. I don't remember. A couple things. But here's that article from KTLA that I thought was rather interesting to think about. And one of the things, if you go over to Paris, it's, like I said, 20 miles outside. The longest, if you go at the busiest time, it could take you maybe 40 minutes from downtown Paris. But usually the ride's about a half hour because of the stops. You're stopping. It's not direct, like from where you are straight to the park. You're going to have local stops. So here it is. Families across the U.S. and Western Europe have made Disney parks one of their favorite vacation destinations. But is there a big difference between locations? Although both Disneyland Paris and Disneyland in California have two parks, California Adventure, and in Paris they have the studio besides Disneyland. Paris enjoys the larger classic park and resort acreage. The Anaheim Disneyland does, however, have 4 more rides in the main park than Paris. However, there are many unique aspects of the French park that have been enchanting children and adults since the early 1990s. From the lush flowers and landscaping to the colorful shops on Main Street, USA, and the nostalgic touches that make you feel like a kid again, it's no wonder that 50,000 people walk through the gates every single day. Both Disney locations in Paris and California have versions of iconic rides like Pirates of the Caribbean, Big Thunder Mountain Railroad, It's a Small World. But there are some attractions unique to our Disneyland here in California, like, for instance, Main Street Cinema, the Mark Twain Riverboat, etc. Along with the castles found around the French countryside, there are also bespoke versions of Sleeping Beauty's castle. It would seem silly for all those European audiences to come here to see something that they have in their own country, Imagineer Laurent Cayula explained. So the challenge was to do the most magical castle without any castle influences. According to Disney, Imagineers pulled their inspiration from different sources. So for example, the shapes of the castle is the La Mont Saint-Michel, which is the monastery in Normandy. Along with Main Street, you'll find a Parisian streetscape designed to take you into Disney Pixar film Ratatouille. If you look closely, At this chimney, for example, they are all a bit crooked because in a cartoon, when you draw a line, it can never be exact, Kayula pointed out. So, all this wonderful Paris experience is actually created from the movie. The Paris location is the only place where visitors can enjoy attractions like Indiana Jones and the Temple of Peril or Ratatouille, the adventure based off the beloved films. I'm not sure why that is because Disneyland has Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom. Maybe it's Peril or Ratatouille. They put them in the same place. I don't know. That quote confused me. Disneyland Paris also has many attractions from the Marvel Cinematic Universe, starting with Disney Hotel New York, the Art of Marvel. It's actually the only place in the world with an art gallery entirely dedicated to the art of Marvel. We have over 300 artworks, Kayula said. And it's not just art. They also have Tony Stark himself. There is somebody in it, Laurent said. Artificial intelligence called Friday has been created by Tony Stark, and we have it here exclusively at Disneyland Paris. There's also a special connection between Disney in the US and Disneyland Paris. The name Disney comes from a village in Normandy, France. When the ancestors would come and they were asked, "Where are you from?" who in France sounds like "oh," meaning where. So instead of giving them their name, they would give them the location that they were from. So instead of saying we are such and such, they would say that they were from the city called Isigny. So they would say Disigny, and that's how the word Disney is named. Isigny is I-S-I-G-N-Y. I-S-I-G-N-Y is where they were from, Isigny. And then all good French people, they put the D in front, Disigny. And that's how Disney came to be. Wonderful. And then on a side note, I remember when I visited with my mom Disney or the Magic Kingdom in Florida, they don't have New Orleans. They have like Americana Boston. Cost-wise, it said that you can get away with as little if you bring your own food and don't buy any souvenirs. You can probably get away with about €100 per person. It is $61.70, I think I saw, per ticket per day, which is not bad. That's about $48 cheaper than here in California per day. Our Disneyland park, I think Walt bought 100 acres, and 40 of it was our original OG park. 60 of it was the parking lot. And now what was our old parking lot is now Downtown Disney and California Adventure. All that parking lot that was there when I worked there and grew up with has been developed. The parking lots, the largest parking structures literally anywhere around, were developed on what was strawberry fields and the KOA campground and old little motels. Later in the morning, I worked on these border strips for the quilt I'm calling my mess quilt. So I got those ready to go, 16 on the sides and 13 on the top and bottom. Disneyland Paris was prior EuroDisney, and then it changed in, I think, 94. It opened in 91. Here are some photos of the Magic Kingdom there. Here's the studio. They have Disney Studio in Paris. Looks a lot like what some of the scenes are set up like in California Adventure. I worked on this evening, a project bag using some of the fabrics left over from a quilt I just finished, the scraps from. So wood fabric and embroidered white flower fabric. Just put these scrappy scraps together, used fusible Frankenstein batting. Works for me. And then I found in my mom's bag of fabrics, Peter Pan fabric from a long time ago. And I'm using that as my lining. Thank you so much for watching. Hope to see you tomorrow. Please subscribe if you care to, and give me a little like. Take good care. Bye-bye.